On this episode, we're going to be watching the New England Patriots third down runs in conference championship weekend versus the Denver Broncos. So we're going to get a variety of different schemes here, situations. First one up is 3rd and 1 in the first quarter. Let's see what they got from this angle, and then we'll go ahead and watch all the blocking from the other angle. Good, again, so 3rd and 1. And they end up getting the first down. Have an extra offensive lineman in the game, plus tight end and defensive lineman playing fullback. All right, we're getting this bear type front. I'm just looking at trying to see who the fullback's supposed to block here, but we'll start up front. Offensive line is working the nose from the right guard in the center up to number 57 right here. Okay, we got man block on the backside. Okay, down blocks on the front side. I'm interested to see what the fullback's responsibility is other than just creating a hole where he can. They're able to get the first down, but it's not perfect. Okay, so let's start here at the center and right guard spot. Like we said, they're working combination to number 57 and ace, right? Based upon 57's location, that's going to determine how much the right guard can help the center on this. The faster he flows over the top, right? The less the right guard is going to be able to help on the nose. Okay. So I think he overruns this a little bit here, right? See how his shoulders, the guard's shoulders are turned completely, right? And linebacker is playing over the top. Makes it very, very hard to adjust when you turn your shoulders that much. Put so much emphasis on destroying the nose, which they do right here. Like, look at the position the nose is in. But we got to have awareness for the linebacker, right? We can't allow him just to run free. So I'd like to see the right guard do a little bit better job of staying square, having his eyes on that linebacker. Right? Now, with that being said, when we talk about a first level combination, right, center and right guard here, this is a short yardage situation. Look at the displacement that the right guard gets. Great job by the center finishing. Right? This is the center finishing the block on the ground. Really good job by the right guard being powerful as he comes down. Right? So let's watch the right guard again. Right? Blocking down on the nose. Right? He does a really good job of stepping down, being powerful, knocking over in the center, taking it over. Now we just need to see that right guard do this. Right here, he's got to abort the nose and go straight up to the linebacker because you can feel him playing over the top. Okay, so some good and some bad, right? But at the end of the day, they get the first down. Good job. Now, right tackle here. Okay, very, very hard versus a penetrating 3 technique. You got a down block by yourself. You're not going to get any help. Okay, what you can't afford to do is that what he just did with his left foot, right? See, we'll start it over. Watch how he pivots on that left foot and he drops it underneath himself, right? His left foot starts about right here. It's kind of hard to tell. But then when he takes his first step, his left foot's actually going over here, all right? So versus a penetrator, it's very, very challenging to cover him up if we're stepping underneath ourselves like that and having to pivot, right? What he needs to do is step right at his target with his left foot, get the right foot in the ground fast, and then you want to be able to drive this defender, wash him down that direction on the angle, okay? Now on the back side of this, we got left guard, left tackle. They just got solo blocks right? One-on-one, staying heavy on the inside. Don't allow him, either of these defenders, to beat you over the top this way. Right? If they're going to beat you, make them beat you wide and around up the field, understanding the path of the ball carrier. All right, sometimes on short yards it's going to be a little sloppy. End of the day, if we need to get that first down, that's what's most important. All right, let's see from this angle, see if we can see anything we missed. And it's kind of same what we're talking about previously with the right tackle. Now with the right guard, okay, he's got to do a really good job of stepping up into the line of scrimmage. If he steps underneath himself at all, right, it's going to turn his whole body, and now his hips and his shoulders are going to be facing that way, which is going to make it very, very challenging when he flows over the top to stay square on it, right? So first step doesn't do him any good. Now, it's not a big drop step, or doesn't really step underneath himself a lot, but it's enough to get his shoulders and his hips turned, making this block challenging to get to the second level. And again, at the right tackle spot, right? Watch that first step on this down block here, okay? He's got to do a good job of closing the distance, stepping at his target, and as soon as he does that, he dropped underneath himself like that. Now he's having to lean on this block, right, rather than drive his feet through the block, making it very challenging. Now he does a good job of getting him past, right, taking him kind of where he wants to go, but this could be a lot cleaner, and he could be covering him up a little bit more here and driving him this way. And look at all the guys near the line of scrimmage, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, we got one wide receiver out and one high safety. Okay, they're playing 2-3 techniques: a 0, a 5, and a wide 9. Plus, linebacker walked up, right, and mugged up, kind of in the C gap, head up on the tight end. Short yardage front, right? All right, now we got 3rd and 3. We're in the third quarter. Weather's starting to change a little bit. Line up in shotgun. All right, we got 2-by-2 after the motion or the shift. See this again. Yeah, it's just like inside zone, a little bit of a, I'm trying to see if this was a, not really a draw, no, it's just more so just like inside zone. And again, they get the first down, it looks like. All right, cool. So let's talk about this scheme first, because the defense moves out of it. But looking at this from an offensive perspective, okay, how we're categorizing this defense, right? It's just like even double mug, right? We'll count this guy out here as our defense end, right? Defensive tackle now in a wide 3. Defensive tackle in a wide 3. And then defense end over here. All right, we got one linebacker mugged up in the A gap, 2 linebackers mugged up in the A gap, right? Okay, so right here, the center is going to be working to the linebacker number 40 right here, leaving 49 for these guys, right? So the more I look at it, the less I think this is inside zone. This is kind of like almost like nickel duo in a way. But regardless of whatever this scheme is, inside run, 3rd and 3. Pretty good job here by the right guard, right tackle till the end. But let's let these guys back up just a little bit. All right, nice work here by right guard, right tackle. Okay, originally they're in the mindset of just down block, but then as 49 drops before snapping the ball, right as the ball is snapped, right, the right guard does a really good job of now trying to turn this back into a combination, right, getting a piece of the defensive tackle on his way up to 49, right? So watch this adjustment. Good job there. Good, and the guard, right guard, actually ends up taking him over, right? So high level play here by the right guard, thinking just down block, ends up at the snap, the linebacker's dropping back, right? And he does a good job now of turning this into a combination. He actually takes over the defensive tackle as he tries to play across his face. Nice work, and good job by the right tackle too, climbing, right? Nice work by the right tackle. He's having to adjust also, right? Originally his mindset is just down block here, right? This guy's gonna play across his face, and the linebacker is gonna drop back, right? So he does a good job staying attached to his landmarks. And going to block the linebacker. Now, unfortunately for him, he's going against a linebacker that's much shorter than him, right? So he's getting way underneath his pads. But it's hard to go through an offensive lineman, right? That would take a lot for a linebacker. So ends up falling on top of him, right? But good job recognizing where they're supposed to go and getting up there. All right. Now at the center position, right here, he's blocking number 40. At the snap, number 40 drops back, right? But he does a good job of just taking his one step and then climbing and getting vertical. Boom, and now climbs, gets vertical, gets on his guy. Great job by the center. Really good job by the center. One step, vertical, get on your guy. Good. Nice work. All right, now on the backside. Okay, so left guard, left tackle. Again, you just got man blocks, right? Staying heavy inside out. Guard should be thinking about blocking this defensive tackle on that shoulder. Can't allow him to cross your face. All right, I think he's just a little bit wide with his aiming point. He's not playing with great pad level, and the guy's able to get through. Okay, so he just needs to do a better job with his feet initially of setting that angle and staying on it, right? Get that second step in the ground quick, playing with better pad level. All right, and then he won't get beat across the face. Right, really good job here by the left tackle. All right, I like this a lot by the left tackle. All right, he's man here. He's got to be heavy inside out. All right, force the guy to beat you up the field this way if he's going to beat you. Good, I like that. Even at the end of the play, when running back's getting tackled, right? He's still on his guy, keeping him up the field. Really good job there by the left tackle. Yeah, they're bringing the wide receiver in. They get the defensive back. Nice work. Again, looks like another first down. Good. All right, let's watch this right here at right guard, right tackle again. Right, thinking down blocks here. One-on-one down blocks. At the snap, he drops. Right. Love the recognition by the right guard of collecting the defensive tackle who's trying to play across his face. Also love the recognition of the right tackle stepping to it and climbing and getting vertical. All right, really good job here by right guard, right tackle. Boom. That's a good look. Great job by the guard, great job by the tackle. Very good job by the center, staying square, climbing up. See, looking over here at left guard, right? He's trying to get that second step in the ground. He's up on his toe, and he's just a little bit outside, right, with that helmet. And look where all of his weight is leaning. All of his weight is leaning out to the left, right? Love to see him just be a little bit more inside out, get that second step down quicker, understanding the scheme. If it wasn't for the right guard, you know, washing that guy down and being in the way, that could have been a tackle for loss, right? So clean that up. All right, let's go to the next play. 3rd and 7 now. All right, not typically a rundown. Maybe the weather, right, will dictate that a little bit. Good, and they're not going anywhere, right? Not much movement here. This is trying to run single back power, it looks like, out of gun. All right, and they're not able to create much movement. There is an RPO element attached to this too, so maybe that's keeping the lineman at the line of scrimmage a little bit more. And you can see the left tackle trying to cut down that defensive end. All right. It looks like he just gets back to the line of scrimmage. All right, good. So single back power. All right, what I mean by that is we're running to the tight end, right? So our tight end is right here. All right, only got one running back in the backfield, no fullback. Okay, we're gonna pull the backside guard to lead through, right? We're gonna block down and away on a deuce block here. Okay, working all the way back to 49. All right. Center's going to back block, and now we have our left tackle actually trying to cut the defense end instead of gap hinge because of the RPO element. Tight end's going to block out, right? We won't have anybody to block this defender right there. Yeah, it looks like they're very worried about the RPO and going downfield. Right, that's what makes RPOs can be challenging on offensive linemen because you're telling them, hey, we want to create movement on these double teams, or we want to create movement on this solo block, right? Create some space for a running back, but then at the same time, got to be a little bit cautious and hesitant about going downfield, right? So kind of looks like here on the right side is a product of having an RPO called on a gap scheme instead of a real physical deuce block on this guy all the way back. You can kind of see how they're hesitating off the line of scrimmage right there. Right, not going very fast. Because of that, they're not able to create much movement. Right, the right guard looks like he thinks it's pass all the way. Center's doing a good job on this back block, staying on his guy. But kind of a sloppy play. Right, maybe it's miscommunication or just poor design, but it's hard to tell because even the left guard who's pulling right here, pulling around, he's going real slow and not really trying to get downfield very much, right? So interesting. It's hard to coach this, not really knowing what they're supposed to do. Left tackle does a good job setting, boom, getting a cut. Sometimes in these snowy conditions, it's hard to get traction on the ground. So occasionally it does affect how we block our combinations, but right here I think this is more of a product of miscommunication or scheme design because right guard, right tackle are being very cautious in their down blocks. Right, and same with that pulling guard, you can see that even. Huh, weird. Man, it looks cold. All right, now fourth down. All right, I mean not fourth down, fourth quarter, 3rd and 8. Patriots up on offense again. Good, not much room to run. Right now they're running like a wide zone with a fullback lead. All right, not much movement by the offensive line there. Okay. Man, this film is fun to watch. Look at this. All right. So they're running wide zone. I know it's kind of hard to see because they're wearing white uniforms in the snow. Okay. But our center has declared number 49. Right. They're going to try to get to 49 with this backside A block. Okay. Backside tackle right here. It's hard to see him, but he's got a cutoff on the backside. All right. We got an extra offensive lineman right here. He's got backside cutoff. Okay. Now on the play side, they're working this hand double. All right, up to 57. Tight end's blocking out on the defense end, and we're going to lead the fullback through to clean up, right? So opportunity for a lot of yards here, right? We got numbers, we got leverage advantage, okay? But this play breaks down for one reason, right? And it's because the initial angle of this tight end is so far inside out that he's not creating any movement at all. In fact, he's just ended up staying right here. Right now, as he goes up, right, there's not a lot of space in here for that fullback to fill in. Right, we need this tight end to stretch him a little bit, even if he just gets him to react by holding his gap, but playing outside. Right, that's going to be more beneficial. But if you watch here, when he goes to attack that defense end, see how inside out he is already, right? He hasn't threatened the defense end's leverage at all, right? He's just drive blocking him. This would be good for inside zone, but for this outside zone play, right? I would love to see him take an angle off the ball right now that threatens the defense end's leverage, forcing him, the defense end, to play outside, right? And then you can run your feet, and now this C gap would be much bigger lane for the fullback to enter through rather than getting pushed back, okay? So tight end does a better job, right? Maybe there's a better opportunity for a big play. All right, now right guard, right tackle, right here, okay? Working up to 57 in a hand double situation. The hand is going to come from the right tackle here. Right guard, think about trying to reach him, reach him. If this defensive tackle wants to play out at all, you got help from the right tackle to knock it back on. All right, so really good job here by the right guard, right tackle, actually, right? This is a good look at a hand double versus this 3 technique. Good job by the right tackle. Good job. I just like to see the right guard play with a little bit more speed initially, but he does a good job getting his body where it needs to be. It's kind of shuffling. Get some foot traffic. All right. All right, now right here at the center left guard spot, we're working an A, wide zone A to 49, right? This guy's gonna flow to us. So center has to do a good job of playing off his backside hand, trying to turn the defense and the nose's shoulders if he can to allow the left guard to take him over in this case, right? Really good job there, right? It's hard to see. I know the picture isn't the clearest, but we got his arm on him, right? And we got defensive, the nose, his shoulders are turned, right? So good job by the center. Good picture right here. Climbing up. Good job by the left guard cutting him off. Also a pretty good job here at left tackle, right? This is arguably the hardest block. You got a 3 technique on the backside you're trying to cut off by yourself. He does a good job of staying on him and continue to run his feet until the very end, right? Forcing him to stay very lateral he can continue to work, get his helmet across, which he does late. Right here is a good picture to see late. He's still working to get his helmet across. Good, so we see the potential for this play to have, even though it's 3rd and 8, right? Bad weather conditions in a running formation. Okay, we have the number advantages. We should have a blocker for every defender except for the backside defense end, right? This should be the only unblocked defender, right? Get our backside tight end to go block number 2 as he's going that way, okay? So we have an opportunity for a big play, but because we don't widen the defense at all, we don't horizontally displace them, everything's kind of getting pushed back inside and forcing the running back to put his foot in the ground and get downhill faster than this play is designed for. I mean, that was a strategic disadvantage that the Broncos had, right? They're going to wear bright colors. Patriots all white, and the white in the snow conditions makes it hard to see them. Good. So see here at the hold on, sorry, wrong marker. Okay. See here at the right guard spot. Right, he's very lateral with his feet. He's kind of shuffling. I would love to see him like just go attack on this angle here, knowing that you have a little bit of help from your right tackle who's going to go vertical off the ball and use his left hand to protect you, right? So just a different angle off the ball rather than trying to jump reach it and just like shuffle around the block with his hips, he could take it on a better angle. Good, now 3rd and 7, 4th quarter, less than 2 minutes left. Okay, extra offensive lineman to the right. And the quarterback keeps it, right? The rumor is he didn't tell everybody that he was going to keep it. He wanted the offensive line and everyone to sell it like it is true wide zone to the right, and then he kept it out the back. Big time play. That's cool to see. That's a cool picture. All right, look at that lineman. Hands in there. Really good job. Same with right here. All right, they know how big this moment is in this game for their season. Right, huge play by the quarterback. We won't spend too much time talking about this, but there is an extra offensive lineman in the game. We got 6 offensive line. Looks like we're completely outnumbered. Good thing he didn't hand this ball off. All right, because look at all the bodies. We got nose, like, what do you call it, defensive end. All right, Sam, Mike, Will. We got our strong safety, or we got a safety right here. Got another safety here. Defensive tackle, defensive end. Another linebacker. All right, so 4 linebackers, 4 defensive end, plus 2 defensive backs. All right, that's a lot of big bodies there. Okay, so good thing he decided to keep this one. Way to read that defense and understand, because these numbers and these angles are not in the favor of the offensive line. All right. Not there. Right here, the guard. Only thing I'll say about this play is I don't like how he doesn't get a piece of this 3 technique. I'd love to see him use that backside hand to try to lift his shoulders to make it a little bit more manageable on the left tackle to cut him off. Right here, he gets skinny, just gets through it, makes it almost nearly impossible by the left tackle. Good, and again, right, now it's an extra offensive lineman. All right, he needs to get horizontal displacement. When I say horizontal displacement, what I mean is we need to get the defensive end, number 0 in this case, right, Sam linebacker, to play outside, right, to hold his gap, to threaten his leverage, okay? Big time play. See that right here? The left guard, right? He just needs to be using that hand to get a piece of him to slow him down for a little bit so his tackle can come. All right, right here, he needs to be using that left hand to get his shoulders lifted a little bit, get the defender's shoulders lifted a little bit, and also slow him down so the left tackle can take him over, right? And also, the left tackle can help himself by actually stepping with that first step instead of just pivoting on it. And it makes it very hard when you just pivot. And you can see here right now it's an extra offensive lineman, right? 2 inside out here. Go threaten his leverage, make this defender react by playing outside because he doesn't want anything to get outside of him. Good. All right, so those were the third down runs from the New England Patriots in the conference championship game versus the Denver Broncos, right? We saw a variety of different schemes. Some were successful for first downs, some weren't, right? That third down is very important, especially if we're going to run the ball to move the chains, right? It demoralizes the defense, right? Especially if we get into that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and we start getting first downs, or we're consistently getting 3rd and shorts, and we're converting them, right? That's demoralizing to the defensive line, to the linebackers. Now they're going to start playing heavier run. That's going to open up some of our play action games, some of our bigger shots, right? So we need to own third down, right? If coach is going to call a run on third down, that's our opportunity as an offensive line, as tight ends, as fullbacks, as running backs, right? To really put our input on the game, to put our imprint on the game, I should say, right? So that was cool to watch this, right? Big time game, terrible weather. It was fun to watch these guys overcome that and go to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna continue making these videos through Super Bowl, and then we'll change it up and do something a little bit different. But I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the comments and the likes and all that stuff. So continue to do that. I'll try to respond to comments as much as I can. If you like these videos, share them. Been getting a lot of good feedback. So I appreciate you guys. Until next video, thank you.